So, Boris,
Yep.
nice to see you. By the way,
Nice
thank
getting
you
you
for
here.
joining
Yeah, sure.
Tech Talk Tony here today.
Tech Talk Tony, I like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
So we're wanting to learn from leaders, and
Sure.
and if I recall correctly, you're a leader, but also
Am I? Yeah,
a strategist, right?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay? So what's your role here at AMATAS?
Okay, let me explain. So basically, what I do is I take a crystal ball, first of all, and look into the crystal ball and try to, tell what the future is going to look like
Right.
in cybersecurity. No, I don't use crystal balls. Of course.
Okay. No crystal ball this time.
Not this time.
Okay.
I'm not the kind of a wizard from Lord of the Rings or something like that.
That's
So,
right.
anyway, so yeah, mine was kind of pretty interesting, to be honest.
Right.
So, I'm basically trying to look into trends in cybersecurity, trying to kind of understand what's going on. First of all,
Right.
what we see happening around us in tech field, of course, and also trying to understand how this is gonna, change our, let's say, security and overall, and what's gonna be the implication of all this new stuff going on, especially now we have probably the most commonly used word last year, AI.
Yes. Yes.
So this is just one example, but I'm trying not to surprise myself by these new things. Oh, what is this? Where did it happen? That's something I try to avoid, really. I try to understand from inception of particular technology to its release, and not because I want to know everything, but because if in security, if you are just witnessing stuff coming up,
Right.
and then start to think about, okay, right, we have now this one here, this technology here.
Yeah.
How to secure it and how to mitigate the risks associated with this technology. It's too late.
Yeah.
Although, in our world of technical, in technology in general, this is something that always happened like that. And that's pity because, if you look at, OpenAI, for example, this is exactly what happened. We knew about it.
Yes.
It's not a surprise. It shouldn't be, at least. But suddenly, out of the blues, it seems, it just appeared on the market and everybody started to freak out about it. Positively and negatively, of course. And somebody said, oh, yeah, that's great, but what are the security risks and privacy risks associated with this? And what we should do about it? Can we use it, safely?
Right.
This is exactly the scenario that I'm trying to prevent.
Right.
Not only in my company, in the context of my AMATAS company, but also in the context of our customers. Because imagine if you knew something's coming and you're prepared for this.
Yes.
You know how to tackle these issues beforehand.
Right.
Then you can very quickly apply your knowledge, apply your understanding, and your general approach to all this in order to help everybody very quickly and efficiently.
Right.
If you start just to figure this out after it's already done, first of all, it's inefficient, and secondly, you have a lot of, let's say, a time period of exposure, which sometimes it's too great for most companies, and they start to adopt these technologies and they start to use them on daily routines, and this results in a problem, cybersecurity issues and hacks and whatever you want to call that. So yeah, that's what I do. I try to foretell the future, and not only to kind of look into in the future, but also to devise strategies, devise means to handle this future, and defense strategies, protection strategies. That's kind of one part of my job. The other one is mostly related to also, considering all these things, is also to which direction we should take in terms of our services, how they should be changed dynamically.
Right.
What are the kind of the paradigms in security which are outdated, And we, although, it's kind of funny. If you have time, we can tell you.
Yeah, I've got time.
Listen, I mean, it's kind of funny. I'm sorry to keep kind of making this U-turn, but I know we consider ourselves as, technology type of, native people, right?
Right, absolutely.
IT and cybersecurity, and we all kind of are proud of it most of the time. And but the funny part is that I'm not sure if you watched these Charles Chaplin movies back then.
Yes, Charles Chaplin is a
Yeah, I
favorite.
remember there was one in which he was working in a factory, screwing kind of nuts and bolts or something like that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a straight line with this kind of, and everybody's doing just like this, trying to screw. This is exactly what we do in technology nowadays.
Good analogy. I like that.
Yeah, because you see, we perceive ourselves as very innovative, very agile, and whatever. But in reality, people are kind of anchored to the things they know. They don't want to change, generally speaking, regardless of your background or your, let's say, your level of expertise. Most people wants to have kind of a solid ground under them,
That's
make
right.
sure they know what to expect, to be, how can I say, let's say, predictable for them.
Right.
Every day should be kind of predictable.
Right.
Because this is something that it's kind of brings you some kind of, let's say, assurance that everything is under your control, and you feel in control basically. And if you try to change things, especially in situation like a new, let's say, revolutionary technology appears, things start to move really fast.
Yes.
People don't move fast. It's not about the technology, it's about how people are actually adopting it and how quickly they change themselves. Of course, I was not trying to say that everybody's like that, but there are a lot of people in our field that are kind of anchored to the current reality. And also the same applies for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity works with a lot of, let's say, paradigms and a lot of well-established means of working and understanding of this field, which are so outdated, so inadequate, and so useless.
Right.
But people are still doing them because they know what to expect.
And they've always been doing it.
and they believe that this is the way to do it. If you challenge them and say, listen, why you do what you do? They don't have an answer.
Right.
Because we used to do it like this forever, and that's not a good answer considering what we see today.
Right.
So my job again is also related to this problem. I'm trying to challenge things. I don't like the things because somebody said that they should be done in this manner or because they existed for that much of amount of time or whatever. This is killing security. We need to be so much more, let's say, dynamic in our approach.
Right.
And I think this is the future of security. And to kind of follow the same pattern of the evolution of technology.
Right.
To be agile, exactly in the same way how technology is evolving.
Right.
And not to try to play this catch-up game all the time. Oh, we have no technology. Oh, let's think how to secure it. No, you should move along with this evolution.
With the change.
With the change, not after it.
Right. Okay.
Because it takes sometimes ages. And if you want to prove, you can look at regulations in security, in generally speaking. Because this is exactly what we see, especially now with AI.
Yeah, right.
The same thing's going on right now. We now start to kind of have these meetings and discussions and working groups and in US, in Europe, everywhere in the world. They say, oh, let's see what we can do now. I mean, guys, it's kind of too late.
Right, right.
This already happened.
Yeah. It's playing catch-up at that point.
Catch-up all the time.
Yeah.
But again, my point is not regulators. This is kind of expected from them, although we see that this is not really efficient way to handle these things, really. Right. We all know that. Right. We hate, formalities and all this stuff. But aside from this kind of a strictly kind of a governmental type of, or let's say, these kind of institutions, they are dealing with these issues on that level. Aside from this, we see the same pattern also in a lot of in the minds of a lot of professionals. Really. Again, anchoring to the current or the past.
Yes.
That's kind of the big enemy of security. And I'm not talking about routine stuff that you need to do or whatever. I'm talking about the way of you look at things and the way you are looking to how to change for the better. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's great. And I know this to be true, audience, because Boris, since I've been here, has challenged me in the weight room twice.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not great at deadlifts, but there's a couple of things I'm good at, which are very basic.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, challenging health, which I
Yeah.
think is another thing in life, which is another podcast for another day.
Definitely.
So we'll come back to that.